Hello, my precious cinnamon rolls. My name is Phoephoe, and I'm here back again playing Loren, the Amazon Princess. And I think we're done talking to everybody at the moment. Oh, no, we're not. Parliament show stood at Eleanor with open caution. Finally, she had enough and walked right up to him. Oh, and once again recording when the windows open, because somebody ordered some summer without telling me. Finally, she had enough and walked right up to him. Eleanor says, "Hello, my name is Eleanor." With his mouth twitched as if he was going to snarl, I said he just sighed. "You have much nerve to approach the Archwizard of Grimoire like that." Eleanor says, "Everyone else can approach you, why not I?" Parliamentary says, "You know very well." Eleanor says, "I'm not a forest elf, I was raised by the Amazons. Why would you still hate me?" Parliamentary says, "Hate you, dear girl. If I had reason to hate you, it wouldn't matter where you hailed from. My enemies didn't stand for long. My feelings towards you are caution, that is it." Friendly. Eleanor says, "You don't have any reason to fear me, I promise you." Parliamentary says, "You always mean little, and that is not entirely your fault, but know that nothing has changed." Eleanor says, hopefully my actions will mean more, and I can prove to you that not all elves are worth caution." Parliamentary says, "I hope that they may." Well, not everybody else, I'm not. "Oh, hi, Dora's done, yeah." Parliamentary says, Where did your princess find that sword she carries?" Eleanor says, "In the Orcish wastes." Parliamentary says, "Where?" Eleanor says, "In a pile of bones and other weapons by an ogre den." Parliamentary says, "Unbelievable." Look at his distressed face. Eleanor asks, "Why? What is wrong?" Parliamentary says, "Nothing is wrong. In fact, everything seems to have gone perfectly right. My faith in this war is restored." Eleanor says, "What's so special about the sword?" Parliamentary says, "A simple sword is not. It is one of the greatest weapons to grace Aravon, and a holy artifact." Eleanor asks, "Holy?" Parliamentary says, "Do you mean to say you don't know about the ancient weapons of the gods?" Parliamentary says, "Who is a tutor? The license should be revoked." Eleanor asks, "Tutor?" Parliamentary adjusted his staff and cleared his throat. "It doesn't matter, it's common knowledge. In the old age when the Death Knights reigned, the gods gave us weapons to take the world back from them. However, to keep the Death Knights from using these weapons, the gods designed the swords to look and act unremarkable. That is, in anyone else's hands but those that the gods had chosen to champion them. And it appears as if your princess is that such a person. A dark elf must have looted the tomb and carried it, thinking it was just a common sword." Parliamentary guffawed and shook his head. "I've been tracking these weapons for 40 years, and never would have expected to find these discarded in an ogre's den. It feels as if I might have wasted all that. No, I will regret nothing." Talk to him again. "Why were you exiled from the council?" Eleanor asks. Parliamentary says, You know very well why. I spoke truth the council did not want to hear. It's as it sounds, unfortunately." "What does this mean? Do you lose your title of Archwizard?" Parliamentary says, "The Wizards Guild is still on deliberation on that matter. For once, I'm glad the politics are quite slow. You may tell your princess that she doesn't need to worry about my ejection from the council. It should in no way hinder her, or I will be of service to her." Keep talking to him. Parliamentary says, "I have a query for you." Eleanor asks, "Yes, sir?" "Tell me about that one." Eleanor saw the wizard gesture towards Draco, who was wolfing down his second plate of food by fire. "Draco? He's a fire mage we found on the way to Grimoire." Dracoe? The elvish word for Drake? Grimoire? Parliamentary mutters to himself as he stared at the fire mage in increasing glare. Eleanor asks, "What are you saying?" He almost shifted his gaze back to Eleanor, but gave her only a brief look before walking briskly away. Eleanor asks, "You're an archwizard, what does that mean?" Parliamentary says, "You ask the most insultingly simple questions I've ever been subjected to. But I do recognize you are not from the Empire, so I will help eradicate your ignorance. I have membership of the Council of Grimoire, which is head of the government from the entire Empire. I represent the Wizards Guild and therefore all of wizardry." "So are you the best wizard?" Eleanor asks. Parliamentary says, "I believe you'll find that quite subjective." Friendly. Eleanor says, "Sorry, I'm just curious." Parliamentary says, "There are tiers in wizardry, and I have a high rank, yes, but I'm certainly not boast of being the most superior, at least not when it comes to magic." Eleanor asks, "Why is anyone so against dark magic?" Parliamentary says, "It is evil. It is the forbidden of the dead, which is the magic the Death Knights enabled when they reigned. The gods saw those beings as evil worth destroying, and so must we all. Anyone who practices the magic is a traitor to the gods themselves." Friendly. Eleanor asks, "So you consider people like Chambara evil?" "Yes, because they are." Eleanor asks, "But why?" Parliamentary says, "Both Chambara and the demons are selfish creatures, using dark magic at the expense of others to serve only themselves." "She wasn't hurting anyone in the forest by herself, she just wanted to live in peace," Eleanor interjects. Parliamentary says, "She's not a wanted woman, she's running from a punishment. Sure, all criminals would prefer their crimes to be ignored, to live in peace. That's not the way the world works." Eleanor gave up on the conversation. And asks, "What is your relationship with Amukiki?" So personal. Parliamentary says, "He's not a close one. He is well known amongst most people of the Empire. However, he and I brokered a deal regarding the Ember Blade." Emberblade, Eleanor asks. Palomancia says, yes, it's an ancient sword that I was seeking out before your princess uncovered another perfectly useful equivalent. So, yeah, if we'd gone to the Empire instead of the Elves, we'd have got the Emberblade instead of the Hawkblade, but it doesn't really make much difference to the story. Palomancia says, however, as you may realise, the arrangement has not gone according to plan. He's not the sword bearer. I'm not expecting him to continue his allegiance to the sword after we rejected him. This is his own doing. His combat record is unmatched, so he's a valuable ally, and the princess should be flattered to receive such an oath. Excuse me, I'm so worn out today. Eleanor chewed her lip, seeming to be the only person who wished Amukiki had stayed in Grimoire. Yeah, they've had a kind of antagonist with benefits relationship going there. Eleanor says, you mentioned the Old War. Palomancia says, allow me a guess, you do not know of it. Eleanor says, no, sir. It was a military campaign same as the one we are forging now. When I was a younger man, there was not as much tension between the Empire and the Elves as there is now. We were able to come together more easily, which is why I'm sure Faust is trying to keep us at war with each other. It's in his interests that we be divided. I was not the archwizard at the time, nor was I one of a few that battled. We lost many wizards in the Old War. And as was it a tough battle? Palomancia says, I cannot begin to describe its difficulty or the costs that had to be paid to win it. Eleanor says, you make it sound like this war on Everburn will be impossible. Palomancia says, we know more about warfare now, and most importantly, we know a lot more about Faust. In the Old War, Faust was a much stronger foe, so he's making up for his lack of power with allies. We must crush all that support him. That is our best chance. Eleanor says, and Nashtran, you said you knew from the war? He was a spirited lad, a young recruit who signed up for the war as soon as he was old enough. Friendship was about the only thing that got us through the war. It kept us in our minds and gave us hope for the future. It doesn't seem like you stayed in contact with them, Eleanor says. Palomancia says, no. Times change. We were moved to different parts of the world, events occurred. Sometimes that is how it must be. Eleanor says, it doesn't have to. Palomancia says, perhaps not. Okay, Eleanor says, he's got a lot to talk about. Eleanor says, you were knowledgeable at the old age. Palomancia says, yes. Eleanor asks, could you tell me more about it? And Palomancia says, I could. Eleanor says, will you? The Elves sighed. Very well, where shall I start? The old age is the era where our world was ruled by the Death Knights. It was a world of anarchy, lawlessness, and general chaos. It was also the world of the dead. Immortal and undead creatures roamed freely. Creatures of life, such as self, were killed, or more accurately, converted. Eleanor asks, how did that happen? Was there a different world before the old age? Palomancia says, the gods did create a world much like the one we see today, but with barbaric cultures that only barely resemble our own. Some say that a god of the realm of Inferno decided to wage war the gods of Elysium. I do not believe this. Knowing what I do about the realms of our existence, I believe there was a fault in the realms of the dead that allowed them to escape into ours. Because the civilizations were primitive in that time, there stood no chance against such dark magic. And that is why the gods created the ancient weapons, one of which Princess Loren currently possesses. And asks, does the world stand a chance of becoming overrun with Death Knights again? Palomancia says, if we ignore the threat in Everburn, most definitely. It only took time for the world to be consumed by death, and we are giving Everburn plenty of it. Speaking of which, we should waste no more time speaking of history. Perhaps not. Yeah, he's done. He's done now. To Reiko. That old guy's a bit seedy, don't you think? Palomancia, why? He's got those eyes, the mean ones he keeps staring me down. Eleanor asks, is he? I hadn't noticed. Because says, well, I do. It's look all imperialists give me. It's like they can just sense the alpha me, like there's a big deal or something. Eleanor says, I know what you mean. Draco casts a wary look at Palomancia across the camp. He's looking at me right now, see? Draco left to go hide. So, it really doesn't bother you, yes. Eleanor asks, what? Draco says, my ears. Eleanor says, I don't even see your ears. I'm in my lineage, silly. I'm not a complete elf, I'm still half Empire, the people that hate you. Friendly. Eleanor says, you're not half Empire, half elf. Don't label yourself so strictly, you should just be yourself. Draco says, I'll protect you, we all have to stick together. Eleanor says, we should do that anyway, regardless of our lineage. Draco says, right. Nothing to do with me, he's done for now. Talk to Amukiki. Amukiki says nothing, he's got nothing else to say. The axe is getting restless. Yeah, he's done. Eleanor says, where were you when I went back to the jail to collect you after speaking with a Palomancia? Eleanor says, I found my way out. I had to join your side, I wasn't going to just wait until after you made me your second in command. Eleanor says, yes, it was unfortunate. Speaking with a Palomancia wasn't time sensitive, I would have fought harder to keep you in jail. Eleanor says, no, I understand what needed to be done. Eleanor says, but that doesn't answer my question. Where were you? Eleanor says, right above you, I was in the rafters. Eleanor says, you were? Why didn't you jump down? Eleanor couldn't respond, and instead just blushed. Loren got the picture. I have great tasks against ahead of us. Convincing the Count of the Empire and Elders of the Forest as well. Loren sighed with exasperation. Why can't it be simple? In Citadel, everything is simple. Eleanor asks, everything? Loren says, you are strong or you're weak. You either know or you don't. You are worthy of honour or you are worthy of death. Eleanor said, simplicity is not always best. Eleanor says, it is when it gets me in my way. Eleanor says, of course. So, Eleanor, which task do you finish first? Empire task. Amukiki says, the old task. The Empire may benefit from knowing proof of Ross returned. Eleanor ground her teeth from hearing Amukiki answer for her. Eleanor asks, excuse me? We should definitely do the other first. Amukiki says, that would have been wise. Eleanor says, I've heard enough, I'll leave now. When Brisky left them, Eleanor took in a deep breath and glared at the gladiator before following her. So, yeah, she's done for now. See if we can confront Amukiki. You were deliberately undermining me. Amukiki went rigid in defensiveness, but said nothing. Eleanor says, you know I'm right. Amukiki says, you are overreacting. I've done nothing but try to save the princess. Eleanor says, you put her in danger. Amukiki says, no, I saved her from it. You were wrong and you should admit it. Eleanor says, no, I was not. It didn't matter what I said. You just wanted to be disagreeable. Amukiki says, that is meaningless. You are blind. Eleanor says, blind? Amukiki, you always set in what you want to believe. You have not appreciated my presence from the beginning. That much is clear. Eleanor says, no, you're right. I haven't tolerated you, but you've proven to be actually intolerable. Amukiki's glanced down and saw that Eleanor had her hand on her weapon. Amukiki says, what now? We fight? Yeah, heck, let's fight. Eleanor ripped out her weapon and charged at Amukiki, who was fully prepared. Oh, this is possibly stupid thing to do, but... Oh, he staggered me. This is not going well. And I am not a melee person. I am a... Heal. Heal. Kicked his ass. With a loud grunt, the gladiator swung his sword to the air, knocking over camp equipment. Eleanor kicked Fox and came to jump back. Eleanor and Amukiki were suddenly drenched in ice-cold water. They froze and dropped their weapons. Karen dropped a bucket from her hands. Karen says, children, you're waking the whole camp. Draco says, ooh, you guys are in so much trouble. Everyone glared at Draco, who jumped and waved a goodbye before disappearing into his tent. The rest of the group was also standing around with disapproving looks. Amukiki says, I apologize. Eleanor says, Eleanor says, hush. Karen looked at them both ambivalently before turning on her heel and retiring to her tent. Eleanor sighed and surveyed the damage to the camp. It was a mess thanks to them. She cautiously looked over the gladiator who was also daring to spy on her. His hair was slick with water, as on Eleanor's, but his eyes were still sharp as ever, cutting right into her. A droplet fell off his nose. Eleanor turned away. They started to pick up items and replace them quietly. Eleanor found a rag. Eleanor was about to press it to her face just before the rag touched her skin. She looked over at Amukiki. Eleanor says, here. She tossed a heavy rag that the gladiator turned in time to catch it. Amukiki was puzzled at first, then took a deep breath. He dried his face and hair in silence. It was a short while getting everything back in order. Eventually, Amukiki walked with Eleanor and handed the rag back. Eleanor hesitated only a moment before reaching up to take it. Amukiki says, you are strong. Both of their hands were holding cloth as Eleanor looked up at him from a sudden compliment. She blinked. Eleanor says she finally noticed. Amukiki huffed. His smoke was more of a shock to Eleanor's senses than the cold water. Yeah, apparently beating him in a fight gains his affection. Whatever. Anyway, we've got anything to talk about? No, we haven't. I said, please, you're done, miss? Ellen says, now that the divination's handle, are you going to keep your word with the Dark Elves? Miss says, yes, completely. I intend to do what the druids should have done a long time ago. I've already spoken with the elders about Misfit. They believe him dead. Ellen says, but that's not the truth. Miss says, I did not lie to them. I said he'd been dealt with, and that is the truth. They assumed that meant he was dead, and yes, I did not correct them. Ellen says, I don't believe the elders would move towards peace with the Dark Elves if they thought otherwise. It really is in their best interest. Fortunately, I've convinced them that the worst of the Dark Elves have passed. With time, with no armed incidents occurred, then they will be more sensitive to hearing their case. Friendly. I certainly hope so, Eleanor says, and I hope they come to an agreement soon. I said, yes, but it's impossible to rush this time, that sort of thing. It's a decision that will change the forest forever. I says, and for the Dark Elves, it's something they've been waiting too long for. I think they'd more than appreciate if you took a more active role in championing them, don't you think? They're depending on you. Mirth looked genuinely sorrowful. You're right, she said. Of course you're right. Eleanor asks, why exactly were the Dark Elves exiled from the forest? And it says, their blood causes the forest great pain. And because I speak to the forest, I feel her pain to ensure that I see it stopped. That means the Dark Elves cannot live amongst the elves of the forest. Eleanor asks, what is it about their blood that hurts the trees? Mirth says, they are part demon. In their veins flows the death of the demons, like the ones that never burn. Friendly. They are not like other elves. Part demon? That's terrifying. I'm not surprised the forest rejects them. Mirth says, so you see. Eleanor says, but are they evil people? The question took Mirth off guard. Well, they are akin to demons. Eleanor says, but are they all bad? Cruel? Criminal? It says, every time a dark elf shows himself to us, it's to inflict harm, it's to steal our things, kidnap our children, or murder our leaders. Good or evil is up to you to decide. All I know is that they cannot live among us. That is all I can say about it. Mirth hesitantly approached Eleanor, looking once over her shoulder. Eleanor asks, yes? She exhaled in a sigh of reluctance. I'm sorry, but I have a question to ask you. Eleanor says, oh? It's a very private question, so I hate to ask it. Eleanor says, it's alright, you can ask me whatever you like. Mirth says, I need to ask, what is your, preference, for lovers? Friendly. Eleanor blinked. Why do you wish to know that? She asked. Mirth says, I'm so sorry, it sounded so embarrassing coming from my mouth just now. Please forget I said anything. He'd be doing a great favour if he just forgot this conversation happened at all. Mirth patted her reddening cheeks and turned away. Oh, I'm going to scold him for talking me into this. It's clear she would only do something so uncomfortable at the request of her brother. Says, it's okay, I'll tell him myself. Who exactly is Mesfit? Eleanor asks. He's the known. We already know who Mesfit is. We've already fought him. For God's sake, he is the known leader of a gang of dark elves originating from the neighbouring desert. He has acted as the face and voice for all dark elves, and is very much an outlaw. I'll ask why. Says he started as a troublemaker, petty thievery, and vandalism. Says, but unfortunately, it got much worse. Elves, even children, were being kidnapped and ransomed. Recently, one of our elders was murdered. He left a threatening note, so we knew it was him. Eleanor says he sounds like a cruel person. Mirth says, yes, we're handling the situation on our own, hiring an assassin to track him down, but then you and the princess arrived and asked for my help. Eleanor asks, what is the deal with this Ray character? Mirth says, I'm so sorry, I really do apologise for him. He's a thorn in my side too. No, it's okay, he's fine. He's opinionated and brash, I admit, and I often wish to knock my staff right on his head for all the things he says. Mirth says, but you must forgive him like I do. You're his sister, so you must forgive him, Eleanor says. Mirth says, we grew up together as siblings, but he likes to point out that he's not my brother and why. Friendly. Says, I'm sure he loves you back. I said, he does, I know he does. I think I've painted the wrong picture of him. You don't think ill of him, he really does care about me, perhaps too much. He does consider himself my brother, he just likes to play word games. He must win every argument, you see. Eleanor says, he sounds like fun. I said, would you believe me if I said that he was? Says, you were weary in the desert. Are you sure you can survive outside the forest for so long? Says, yes, I very much think I will be fine. The desert was born from the demon's vine, and the air was very dry, so it was particularly difficult for me. I was lightheaded mostly because I am not simply used to feeling alien with my environment. I think I'm already beginning to adapt to life outside the forest. If I returned to the desert today, for instance, I think I would fare a lot better. Friendly. I'm happy you're learning to adapt so well. I wonder if many sprites have been adventurous with you. Mirth says, actually, I don't think so. I've never consulted my pioneer, but I think you're right. Eleanor says, on the ultimate test will be to walk right up to the Everburn Mountains and teach all the demons a lesson. Mirth says, oh, I certainly hope so. I felt pain when I was near the forest, but there is no forest in the Everburn Mountains, so I will hopefully feel no pain. I'll have to make sure I get plenty of practice with a large variety of terrain first. Says, I apologise this is a very inappropriate question, but why do druids not wear clothes? It says, oh, this is very much a belief of mine, but the clothes that you and the other cultures wear, I consider them very restrictive. Clothes are like cages, and often made for an animal. I do not believe such things would pertain to me. And says, but the vegetation that you wear instead was not at the cost of a plant's life? Nurse smiled and held out her hand. I said, it's me. A vine began to sprout from a palm, shocking Eleanor. And says, oh, wow, I had no idea. Mirth giggled. It always surprises people. Says, yeah, she's done. Now let's go confront Ray. Ray asks whatever brings you to me at this hour. Ella says, I think it's very low someone considers himself a gentleman, uses his own sister as a pawn and is womanizing. Ray's playful air seemed to evaporate. Alright, I asked Mirth to discover your nature. And asked why. How long have we been travelling together since I left Grand Tree? How can an elf woman such as you be that stubborn for so long? Are you doing this simply to torture me? Or do you just not prefer men? Eleanor's jaw hung open from his accusations. If I have slighted you in any way. She covered her mouth with a hand and quieted. I'm sorry, but what exactly were you expecting from me? He says, do not play coy, which I've shared the same bed at least once by now. Oh, gosh, I don't know which one offended or disgusted. We'll go with offended. Elna reached up to slap him, but caught herself just before she hit him. It was clearly unsettled by what almost happened, and could say nothing even with her hand just by his face. She trembled and withdrew. I'm sorry. And ran away, too embarrassed to continue to face it. Yeah. See if he has anything else to say. Elna says, I can't believe you did that. I said, right, well, hello to you two. You left me up in the rafters. He says, what? You jump down? It really wasn't easy. That's besides the point. You didn't even have to look back to see if I could. Ray says, sorry I forget people aren't skilled to me. Can you forgive me? I says, that's not really a good excuse. He says, fine, I'm sorry. There you go, all better. And I scowled at him. You've got anything else to say? It's rather boring. Yeah, we're all done with the talk, with the chatting, and that was 20 minutes, so let's save the game. And in the next episode we'll progress with the story and combat and stuff. Hi, this is Phoephoe. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like, comment, and if you really liked it, please subscribe.